So what if I told you that a noisy, chaotic factory floor from the 1920s holds the secret to being seen and understood by AI today? It's this powerful, 100-year-old idea that's, well, it's become absolutely essential for anyone who wants to succeed online.
And this right here, this is the core idea we're going to unpack. It might sound a little abstract right now, but stick with me. By the end of this, you'll see exactly how this analogy holds the key to getting predictable, reliable results online.
All right, to really get this, we've got to jump in a time machine. We're going back to 1924, to the Hawthorne Works factory in Illinois. This place was facing a massive, and I mean deeply frustrating problem.
And here's what was so maddening about it. Western Electric was making telephone equipment, and they had everything going for them. They had skilled workers, the best, most modern machinery, and all their processes were documented. On paper, they should have been a shining example of efficiency. But the reality? Their output was just pure chaos. Reliability was a total coin toss.
And we're not talking about a small problem here. This was a huge deal. Some batches of their equipment would come off the line perfect, but others had defect rates as high as 30%. Can you imagine being a customer? You would literally have no idea what you were going to get.
So what does management do? Well, they do what seems logical, right? They just throw more inspectors at the problem. But here's the thing. All that did was catch the broken parts after they were already made. It was a Band-Aid solution that did nothing to explain why the quality was so all over the place.
And this is where our hero, a statistician and engineer named Walter Shewhart, walks into the picture. He looked at all this chaos and realized, you know what? They were asking the completely wrong question. So he posed a different and way more powerful one.
And that question, that right there was the breakthrough. See, instead of just focusing on failure, he started focusing on inconsistency. He wasn't just trying to sort the good parts from the bad ones. He wanted to understand the variation itself.
This shift in thinking was a total game changer. The old way was all about reacting, finding defects after the fact. Shewhart's new way was proactive. It was about measuring tiny little deviations and correcting them before they ever had a chance to become a major defect. And that's how you turn random outcomes into predictable, engineered reliability.
And the tool he invented to do this was the control chart. It's actually a pretty simple but brilliant way to see the variance. He'd just plot measurements over time, and as long as those plots stayed between an upper and a lower control limit, he knew the process was stable. The second a measurement went outside those lines, boom, it was an instant signal to go figure out what was going on.
And this is the key insight, the thing that changed manufacturing forever. The goal was never to make every single part mathematically perfect. That's impossible. The goal was to control the variance, to keep the whole process consistent and predictable inside an acceptable range. That is what creates reliability.
Okay, so let's fast forward 100 years and bring this powerful idea right here into today. Because that factory floor from the 1920s, it's been replaced. Today, the factory that assembles an understanding of your business, well, it's AI. And your business isn't a physical part. It's a collection of signals you send out into the world.
Honestly, everything. Just like Western Electric was struggling with random quality, so many businesses today are struggling with random visibility online. And the reason is exactly the same: uncontrolled variance in their signals.
You see this problem everywhere, and it's so easy to miss. Take this for example. An AI system sees you call yourself a marketing agency on your website. Then it sees marketing services firm on your LinkedIn profile, and over on your Google profile, it's digital marketing consultant. Now, to you and me, those all mean pretty much the same thing. But to an AI, those small variations create signal variance. It's just plain inconsistency.
And think about what happens when an AI is forced to guess. The results are just as random as those telephone parts. It might misclassify you entirely. It might fragment your identity into a bunch of different pieces. Or, and this is the worst case scenario, it might just ignore you completely because your signals are too confusing to process reliably.
So, the good news is, just like Shewhart engineered reliability in that factory, we can engineer reliability in how AI sees us. And that brings us to the modern solution, the Variance Control Model. It follows his logic almost exactly. It's a simple four-step process. First, you have to measure just how inconsistent your signals are right now. That's your baseline. Second, you establish your acceptable control limits. Third, you go in and you fix anything that's falling outside those limits. And finally, you monitor it constantly because this is not a one-and-done fix.
Okay,
So what does this actually look like? What are these control limits for your business? Well, think of it like this. Your entity type, like are you an organization or a professional service, that needs to be super consistent, almost zero variance. Your category labels, like we saw before, you've got a little more wiggle room there. But things like your specific framework names, your unique methodologies, those have to be exact every single time. We're talking 0% variance allowed.
All right, let's bring this all home. Because at the end of the day, this all boils down to a fundamental choice. A choice you have to make about how you manage your business's presence in this new AI-driven world.
You've really got two paths. On one side, you have uncontrolled variance. That's where hope is your only strategy, the AI is constantly confused, and your results are, you guessed it, totally random. On the other side, you have controlled variance. Here, measurement is your strategy, the AI understands you clearly, and your outcomes become reliable and predictable.
And the reward for all this, the payoff is huge. It's something called semantic endurance. What that means is the AI develops a stable, long-term, and accurate memory of who you are and what you do. Why? Because you're feeding it consistent, reliable signals over time. You literally endure in the AI's understanding of the world.
So here's the question I want you to walk away with. After everything we've talked about, from a factory in the 1920s to the AI that runs our world today, I want you to take a hard look at your own online presence. Is your visibility something you are actively engineering for reliability, or is it still just being left to chance?